US President Donald Trump has threatened to deploy the military and close the country's southern border if Mexico does not stop a group of migrants heading north. Thousands of people from Honduras have been moving through Guatemala this week, and they're now nearing Mexico. Well, for more on this, in the studio, I'm joined by our correspondent, Alistair Sanford. So, Alistair, thanks so much for being with us. Well, we're talking about this group of migrants. Where exactly are they heading and why?
Yes, Isabel, there are several thousand people who've left Honduras and they've been heading through Guatemala trying to reach Mexico. Why? Well, they say they're fleeing violence and poverty. Human rights activists in Honduras say the security situation is such that this is really forced displacement. It's not so much immigration somewhere else, it's just they desperate to leave because of the situation where they've been. The numbers have been growing steadily. They've been hiking through the jungle in Guatemala. They've reached Guatemala City. There is said to be some 4,000 or 5,000. And they say they're determined to keep heading north. Now, if they keep going, they could reach the US border within the next few weeks, just in time for the midterm elections, which, of course, is red meat to Donald Trump. And he's been tweeting about this predictably and playing up to his base, speaking at a rally in Montana, lashing out at the Democrats, lashing out at Central American leaders and at the migrants themselves, with references to criminals and drugs pouring in, stuff we've heard before. Incidentally, it's sort of language that other Republican campaigners have been using as well on the campaign trail.
So, well, we've been hearing about what Donald Trump's been saying, but, you know, what about his plans? What do we think he's going to do? Yes.
Now, remember those campaign promises, of course, before the presidential election to get tough on illegal immigration and build a border wall. Well, Congress refused to fully fund that. Since then, Trump in April has ordered National Guard staff to go and protect the border in at least 4 states. Now he's threatening to halt aid to Central American countries and to deploy the military and close the border. Have a look at this tweet. It contains pretty familiar language and including capital letters over that threat to close our southern border. He also mentions a reference there to criticising countries who have no control over their population, which sort of begs the question, is he expecting them to forcibly keep people in? Now, how serious is this on this threat to deploy the military? Well, as the Pentagon says, it's had no request for help. Since then, Donald Trump has thanked the Mexican government after a report that police had been sent to the border with Guatemala, but Mexico denies that a deal has been done. Central American governments are talking amongst themselves. There's talk of involving the UN Refugee Agency. Mexico says it doesn't condone illegal immigration, but it won't close its eyes to the humanitarian situation. Trump, meanwhile, is cranking up the rhetoric. But there are tensions in the White House over this, with reports of a huge bust-up between 2 top advisors, John Kelly, the National Security Advisor, and John Bolton, the National Security Advisor, and John Kelly, the Chief of Staff.